Hello and welcome to the Hockey Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me, as usual, is the one and only Joel Meyer. How are we doing tonight, Joel?
The one and only. I like that. I am doing well. It's been a pretty quiet couple days here in the calm before the storm, as it were, but the weekend was anything but calm with the Pacers getting the job done. And golf was nice, just Scotty Scheffler wins again. He was betting this guy, and chances are you're going to win, especially lately with winning 3 of the past 4 tournaments, including a major. Yeah, it's been pretty fun. But the one complaint I guess I had with the Pacers win is that I also had the Halliburton to win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And there's a lesson to be learned there. I couldn't live bet this, but I noticed in the fourth quarter when Siakam was out and then Halliburton came back in, the odds went almost down to a pick-em between the two. But then Halliburton just fucking took off and sealed the series with a tremendous fourth quarter there. And the odds reflected that, even though, from what I understand, the votes were due at the end of the third quarter. So it didn't matter what Halliburton was doing in the fourth quarter. They already decided then. It ended up being 5-4 for Siakam. So this is advice for those of you with these markets around, when you're seeing such radical movement, to pay in mind that you can't read too much into that. You might as well just bet the guy who's getting bet against in the fourth quarter because the votes are already in. It's a little different in hockey because there's a lot of stipulations you could put in, like if this happens, I'll vote for this guy kind of thing. But for football and NBA, for sure, that this is something to take advantage of. Worked against me. I told a couple people, bet Siakam at 13-1, 12-1 at the half. Apparently, that was the right thing. I didn't think that he was going to win, but at those odds, it was worth a shot. And he he did win. NBA is kind of weird like that with these conference finals in particular. I remember Jaylen Brown was it last year. I think he beat Jason Tatum for Eastern Conference Finals MVP. So, yeah, it's just something to pay in mind going forward when there's a team that can clinch and the voters got to get the votes in. Like, it was 5-4, like I said. So if anybody was on the fence, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter what Halliburton did in the fourth quarter there. Siakam already had the vote in. So,
yeah,
it sucks for me, but whatever. The Pacers won. So we're still good.
I think we saw that last year in Game 7 where Bob was the big favorite and McDavid ended up winning it. And I don't think either of us were in a position where we were able to bet. We were both away a little bit, but
No.
You were able to get in on some of your offshores when you were in Germany then, or were you somewhere?
Smitty came through for me. He bet some McDavid. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, minus 200 just because PK Subban said that Bobrovsky should win the Conn Smythe. And the betting market went mad. McDavid was like minus 1,000, minus 1,100 before Game 7. Then he would drop to minus 2. I'm like, what the fuck's happening? I didn't even know about the PK Subban thing. Like, how is Bobrovsky suddenly getting on this team? So thankfully, it's good to have friends, good to network, so you can get bets in even when you cannot yourself.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just wait for the time when the NHL gives out conference finals MVPs as well. And we can have another thing to debate and discuss and bet on and hopefully take advantage of, because that's what we're able to do here with some of the live betting. Good weekend. Scotty won. 5 days off now without hockey. So I'm itching for it to get back here. Shout out everyone that checked out my spot on the flagship show. I believe Adam Osimo in the chat did. This is his first time listening here to the Hockey Gambling Podcast, so appreciate you. Make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, leave us comments, ratings, and reviews. We appreciate all of that stuff. And, of course, we got the Stanley Cup Final Props contest going on right now, giving away an NHL jersey of your choice to the winner and a $100 in SGPN gift cards to first and second place. Enter for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Stanley Cup. I went over that full contest last night in a special stream there, so make sure you go back and listen to that if you want any advice. Or, I mean, we'll touch on most of those things, I imagine, here in this full Stanley Cup final preview, because we spent a little bit too much time, like you said, on the sports talk stuff on Saturday before getting into the Conn Smythe. So we'll have to dig deeper here into the
for the listeners' sake, not for
Stanley.
my sake. I'd rather talk
No.
about the French Open rather than rehash the same old points we've been talking about for months now in the playoffs.
Yeah, but now less than 24 hours to puck drop on the Stanley Cup final. I guess let's take a look quickly at our puck bucks situation here. Let me throw these up on the screen. There's a lot of stuff already decided, of course, but here you have Barkov, Reinhart, Conn Smythe, 25-1 and 50-1 for Reinhart there at 10 and 5. Reinhart, Conn Smythe, 40-1 for 10. Florida Cup, plus 750 for 10. You did hit your Florida East, plus 370 for 10 there. That's a good win for you. Scrolling down here a bit, not too much stuff. Bob Conn Smythe, I got 22-1 for 25 puck bucks, even though I don't necessarily think I'll win. I think I'm happy to have that at 22-1. I got Barkov, 28-1 for 5. You have that same thing. You got some Edmonton Cup in there at plus 330 for 25. You had Edmonton West here. Did not realize that. Lock that in as a win for you. You got a plus 30 puck bucks there. Still have another Edmonton West. Yeah, Edmonton Cup. You got some McDavid, Conn Smythe in there, as do I. But a bunch of Reinhardt stuff. A2, Listerinen, not looking too good, but more McDavid. Draisaitl you have there, 14-1. So I'm scrolling through here. Not sure if you guys can see it on the screen. Maybe if you full screen it, you can see it. That's what we have so far, and we'll add to that as the show goes along with the picks at the end.
A lot more Barkov and couple other different numbers there too, right?
I believe you do. Let me see. Barkov, you got 25-1, 28-1, 13-1, and 8-1 for him there. So you got plenty of Barkov coverage there, along with your other stuff. I think we're covered pretty good on the Cat side.
Well, between the two of us, yes, we're totally anti-fade Bob train. I've always been on my end, but yeah, 22-1 is certainly a good number at this point.
Yeah, that's an actual bet I have too, and I might prop swap it, or if anyone else wants to, it's a good. I guess it's a decent hedge to have for me, just in case somehow he throws up a shutout or two and does win it. But
what did I say at the top? It's good to network.
It's good to network. Yes, good to network. Good to get stuff in there. Yeah, get in the Discord at sg.pn/Discord. Good stuff in there in the hockey channel. Follow on Twitter at HockeySGPN. You'd want to just get into the series prices here? You got any thoughts before that?
No, you're the pilot of the ship. Lead away, Captain.
Pilot of the ship. Yeah, here we go. So we have
Ahoy.
Oilers. I think I've been bet a bit here. You got the Oilers minus 120 for the series. Panthers at even money. Series spread. Oilers minus 1.5 plus 180. Panthers minus 1.5 plus 170. How are you feeling? What are you coming in with in your portfolio? Have you done any hedging or optimization there?
I've done a lot of thinking in the past, 2 years since we've seen the last hockey game. And really, this, like I said last show, I do think the Oilers win, but it's not a strong position of mine. It's not like this is some tremendous betting opportunity. But for official sake, for objectivity's sake, for the sake of the listeners and whatnot, I would pick the Oilers. But personally, to be fully transparent, I don't want to be cheering for the same side as all these Oilers fans swarming and invading the Vancouver bars where I'll be watching this series. So you know me, I do have no problem with betting against my teams or betting for my sworn enemies like Avalanche. I bet against them. I bet against the Canucks. I bet on the Wild. I bet on the Leafs. Red Wings, not so much. The past few years, the way the market has been and how fraudulent they've been. But generally speaking, I've got no problem ditching my homerism for the sake of a good bet. But it is the Stanley Cup final, and I do want to have an actual interest. I can't just bet the Oilers and be constantly torn every time somebody scores, right? Oh, the Oilers scored. Fuck the Oilers. Oh, they scored. Great. I won the bet. I can't do that. It's the Stanley Cup finals. I need to be invested some way. So I bet a little bit of Oilers when the lines first dropped. It was a minus 110, which I thought was silly. Even minus 120, I think, is one of the better prices out there. but yeah, it's such a coin toss. It's like I'm not throwing away a lot of money by doing this because it's a very slight edge here to the Oilers for myself. So but that said, yeah, for our sake, for the sake of the show, I would bet the Oilers, especially at minus 120 here, which is one of the better prices of the market, as I said. It's like general thoughts. Like I can't remember exactly what I said on Saturday, so we're probably going to be repeating ourselves. But yeah, just general thoughts are Hyman injury is massive, but they learned a lot. The Oilers are far more mature now than the past few years. Right, they've been pretty close, especially last year, obviously. And now they've shown a maturity to close out games. Like ever since the first two games against the Kings, they've been the better team in almost every game. They've been able to close out games. They typically started slow, but they found a way to dig in and find their best hockey in the second and third periods. And for that reason, I do think that they are the more driven team at this point. And we talk about the Panthers, the stress and the wear and tear of having been to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals now. You can see that's a massive factor, but they've also got a bunch of new bodies in there. Seth Jones and Brad Marchand have been massive. So both teams, I would say, are better. So that's what makes this series so fun. And that's why everybody should be tuning in and watching it with keen anticipation. But yeah, I do think it's the Oilers' time. We talk about the narrative stuff with Crosby winning against the Red Wings after they played them the previous year. We talk about Gretzky against the Islanders and they played them the previous year. So there's certainly a lot of narrative stuff swirling around the Oilers team, and I kind of buy into it a little bit. It's tough to bet against greatness, and that's what McDavid is. Like he's going to get a cup at some point in his career, and this seems like a pretty good spot. It's just I owe a lot to the Panthers after last year, so there's a sense of fealty as well that I feel towards Florida. So yeah, I like the Panthers team. I do want to see Marchand win a cup as well, but again, this is just personal stuff. But for the sake of betting, I do think the Oilers win it in the end in a long series. So yeah, we could talk about it, but yeah, my favorite bet is just over 5.5 games, like minus 200, minus 210, something like that. Yeah, for the side, I do think the Oilers should be like minus 130, minus 140.
Yeah, I was surprised when you said minus 120 is one of the best prices out there. But looking here, I see like minus 126, minus 130. So yeah, minus 120. And for me, if I'm betting the Oilers in the series, I would just take McDavid for Conn Smythe at plus money. We'll get into that. We'll get into Draisaitl's path a little bit later. But yeah, you said it there at the end as well. The over 5.5 games. I saw it as high as minus 250 somewhere, but I saw a minus 210 elsewhere. Shop around there, maybe see if it's better to Dutch, 6 games.
It's not on DraftKings? I thought I saw it there.
DraftKings does not have over-unders. They just have exact games. Yeah.
Okay,
at least in Pennsylvania. It might be different elsewhere. It might be different in New Jersey. When I was in AC, there were different markets available, but here in PA, they do not have the over-under. I know MGM has it. I think that was a 210. And FanDuel was the minus 250. Might be flip-flopped around, but either way, like you said, should be a long series. And I don't think people are realizing how big of a deal the Zach Hyman injury is. People look at him, okay, only 27 goals this year after scoring 54 the year before. But we've been talking about it. The broadcasts have been talking about it. He's just been hitting everything that moves on that forecheck. He's been a huge part of every line here that the Oilers have had on Money Puck, in order of expected goal percentage. You got Hyman, Draisaitl, McDavid, Kane, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman. You got the McDavid, Draisaitl, Perry line, but I don't think McDavid, Draisaitl are going to be together. Kapanen, Draisaitl, put Coles in, put Kane on there. That'll be fine. Then you got Hyman, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins. Like he's been a huge part of every one of those lines that's getting in there on the forecheck. And I know we saw Jeff Skinner in there, Victor Arvidsson, but no one's going to be able to replace that. And you also talked about the, a lot of wear and tear on the bodies. You mentioned the new bodies that have in there, Seth Jones and Brad Marchand, that have not made any long trips recently. But also, like looking at their lineup, Barkov missed some time at the end of the year, probably for maintenance. Kachuk missed a whole bunch of time after the Four Nations. Reinhart just missed a game. Like, I don't think they're as beat up as you might think they are. So yeah, like you said, these two teams I think are better than they were last year. The narrative very much does go for McDavid to win the Conn Smythe and win the Cup the year after. winning the Conn Smythe in a losing effort against the same team. But I don't know if this Oilers team is that much better than last year. Looking at last year's points in the Stanley Cup final, McDavid had 11, Bouchard had 5, but then Fogle had 5, he's gone. Hyman had 4, he's out, and Janmark had 4. And looking at their goal scoring, McLeod had 3, Fogle had 2, Hyman had 2, and then you got Janmark, Nurse, Henrique, and Holloway all had 2. So obviously missing there is Leon Draisaitl, who was playing on maybe half a leg last Stanley Cup final, but by the point it got there. So I do expect a lot from him in this series. Like you said, going deep is how I would expect it there. It's what I like to do. I like to go deep here.
Gotta expect that.
Gotta expect that. So I'm looking at these correct score markets. I'm looking at either Panthers in 6 at plus 450 or Oilers in 7 at plus 450. They win the cup at home in both of those scenarios. If you're into, just riding that out, you can. If you want to hedge it in game 6 or game 7, depending what's happening to guarantee profit, you can, because like Joel, I'm coming into this with a lot of Panthers positions, mainly via the Conn Smythe. I'm pretty much covered for any Panther to win the Conn Smythe, but I do not have much Oilers. So I've been thinking okay, how am I going to hedge this? How am I going to guarantee some profit? Like maybe about Oilers game 1 in series. That's at plus 185 for a decent bit. But then I just think about how deep this Panthers team is. You look at that third line, Luosterainen, Lundell, and Marchand. That could be a second line. That could be a top line for some teams. And you look at the Oilers lines, especially without Hyman, like Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, Perry. We'll see how Perry holds up. Kane, Draisaitl, Kapanen. Sure, if Kapanen holds up there as well as he was playing. But then the third line of Frederick, Henrique, and Connor Brown just doesn't do much for me, especially when you compare that to the Panthers' third line. The blue line on defense, Jake Wallman's been a great piece for the Oilers, as had John Klingberg. Two good additions there. But we talked about Seth Jones for the Panthers. Who else? Nate Schmidt on that third pair. He's been fine. But Ekblad missing all that time due to PEDs and the 2-game suspension probably helped him in the long run here. So I still think the Panthers have it. It's just a matter of, are they driven enough? It's horrible to talk about and whatnot. People are like, oh, which team wants it more? But that might come into play here because it's a 7-game series. The best team doesn't always win a 7-game series. So I probably just going to be betting this game by game. Maybe take the underdog in every game, but over 5.5 games. And I saw a recommendation from Adam Osimo in the chat. You starred there. Panthers, Oilers over 5.5 games and OKC minus 1.5 games. Get you to even money there. I mean, that's probably a pretty solid look.
Right. Yeah. I don't think the Pacers stand a chance against the Thunder. I've done something similar to that. Also with the Conn Smythe, like forward to win Conn Smythe at minus 350, minus 360. With OKC stuff because they won't let you parlay it with fellow hockey stuff. So yeah, Thunder and of course French Open stuff. Although French Open is like it's very small pick a mod, so you can't find these massive favorites kind of thing. But you can always do the plus 1.5 whatever sets and so forth.
Or
but anyway,
be like a player to win their quarter or to reach the final or something. I feel like
quarters are just about done. We have some tomorrow. But yeah, we got half the semifinals already. Okay. But anyway, back on targets. You go to the series.
Oh, one more thing on OKC is SGA for MVP a safe bet to put in one of those?
Not anymore. Not after Halliburton got snubbed. I mean, this is 2 years in a row where the Eastern Conference Final guy got. So people just say, "Oh yeah, it's entirely correlated. It's 1-to-1. Like if the Thunder win, then SGA wins." But apparently not. So I'm staying away from like playing minus 500 for SJ to win the Finals MVP.
Maybe we'll have to check out the NBA gambling podcast there. But yeah, what were you looking at here for this?
Like, there's not much of a difference between minus 500, minus 600, minus 700 for the Thunder to win the title anyway. So
that's true, especially in a parlay like that.
Yeah, right. But yeah, Game X series double. My favorite one is the Panthers to win Game 1, Oilers win series at 5-1.
That's one of the best prices out there. That's like 4-1, 450 elsewhere, like 5-1 for that. If the Panthers win Game 1, what are they going to be favored for in the series? Like maybe minus 150, if that. Like I don't see it swinging.
Probably more on that.
You think so? I guess on the road.
Yeah, they stole back home ice advantage plus We'll have the vibes of last year, memories of last year.
Mhm.
Yeah, so probably at least minus 150. But Panthers have been very solid in game ones. Obviously, not so much against the Leafs, but I think Bobrovsky had something to do with that. And but the Oilers have been stronger as the series have gone on. Of course, they lost 2 of the 3. Of course, they were on the road in all those games, but still, a little slow start there. So 5-1 there. I think that's not a bad way to play the Oilers, especially maybe they'll be a little bit nervous playing in front of their home ice, in front of their home fans there, when they have all the expectations in the world to win. So, and in a coin flip series at 5-1 there, just win the first game. I think that's better than like the rollover parlay of like win game 1, and then you parlay the Panthers series price, I would think.
Yeah, that probably makes sense there. But before we go any further here, we are brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. You can earn cashback rewards and 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at Edge Boost with bet with promo code SGPN. And if you sign up this week, you get a free Refs or Terrorist t-shirt. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your free shirt. And of course, Underdog is going long for the NBA Finals with their extender bonus, hopping game 1. And the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. Sign up with promo code HGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code HGP. And we got the Belmont Stakes coming up this weekend at Saratoga. You can bet it with Naira Bets. Sign up today using promo code SGPN25. Get a $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just getting started, Naira Bets makes it easy to jump into the action. This exclusive offer is just for the Belmont Stakes, so don't wait. Join now and claim your free $25 Belmont bet today at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. Yeah, as Joel mentioned there, the Oilers have not been good in game games, especially on the penalty kill. I mean, look at the game 1 so far. Kings went 2 for 5 on the power play. Vegas 1 for 3. Dallas 3 for 4, all in that third period. And their penalty kill in general this playoffs has not been a strength. It was one of their major strengths last time around, but this year just 66%, only better than the Senators and Kings. Panthers penalty kill is the best, 87.9, able to shut down Tampa, Toronto, and then Carolina. Carolina doesn't have a great power play, but still worth talking about there. And then power play, Edmonton at 30%, Panthers at 23%. So could see a few power play goals early on. Maybe over 1.5 power play goals could be back on the menu for game 1 and 2.
It's important to note for the Oilers, though, that they did not have Matthias Ekholm, who was their best penalty killer this entire playoff. So if he is back to 90% of what he was last year, then you expect the penalty killing to improve. Panthers been a bit fortunate, I think, on their own power play, even 23%. It's been better than last year. If I remember correctly, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but last year the Panthers power play was like they were giving up as many shorthanded goals as they were scoring on the power play. It was like, no, just stay 5-on-5, please. That's how I remember feeling anyway. I don't have the data.
Last year, 18.5% on the power play. The Panthers.
There you go.
That's ugly. That's ugly.
It was like, oh great, we have a power play. I didn't feel really confident every time the Oilers took a penalty. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind. Of Matthias Ekholm coming back. Marchand, I think, is a big boon for that second power play units. Seth Jones, of course, too. They've been rolling up with the Nate Schmidt, Seth Jones on the second power play. That's pretty cool. I don't mind the old school 2 D-man when you have 2 guys who could dish the puck like they do. So yeah, it's we could see some power play goals here, which is not to jump ahead, but I do like the over in game 1.
Yeah, same thing there. Same thing with me. We'll get to game 1. So yeah, not going to take any spreads. If you're taking a spread, I think just take a correct score at a longer price. Total games, we like the over. Maybe Dutch is 6 and 7 to see if that comes out better. Some props here, hat tricks. Don't really care to talk about that, honestly. Any game to reach double overtime plus 340 could be a fun bet, but just bet 3-1 overtime every game in that sake. Any game 10 goals. I kind of like the no at minus 145. There's a lot of vig there at plus 115 for yes and minus 145 for no. But even last year, there was not 10 goals in a game.
I do expect it to be a long series. So when you have more
We got 7 games last year.
That's true. That's true. But I can't, for that reason, I just can't do it. Like, there's going to be 6, 7 chances for it to get there. But you're right. It should be no, but maybe it should be like minus 160 or something. But it's not something I'm really interested in. I don't expect that to be.
The Oilers had 3 games go to 10 goals, all against the Kings. The Panthers have not had a 10-goal game yet in the playoffs.
All right.
So kind of really like that no at minus 145.
I like the no. I don't really like it. That's what I'll say.
Fair enough. Anything with this much vig, you can't really like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's not the worst vig I've seen.
No.
Like I played even money against minus 140 in the Memorial Cup on Sunday. Shout out to the London Knights. They won the Memorial Cup.
You bet against him.
Mechanic could not get it done. He's already.
You bet against my boy Denver Barkey. Denver Barkey is going to be a problem for people.
He killed it. Easton Cohen too for the Leafs.
Easton Cohen, yeah, for the Leafs there. Series total goals over 35.5. I think I added it up, and last year there were around 40. So if you think it's going long, maybe take the over in the games. The salami. I know FanDuel has some alternate overs as well.
Yeah, like I said, it's the same kind of thing as the 10 plus goals market kind of thing. I don't expect there to be a lot of the goals in these games, after the first couple, at least. But I do expect to go 6 or 7, but under 35.5. That's a pretty high total for me. Like that yeah, 7 games, 5 goals a game. That under 35.5, I think actually is the way to go for sure. I like this better than the 10 plus goals one.
Exactly, especially at minus 115 compared to.
Well, you're double talking. You're talking on both sides of your mouth. If you like, oh no, never mind. You're wrong. You're right.
No 10
totally
goals, and then under as well. Last year there were 41 goals, but I mean, I don't see the Oilers putting up 8 again, but never know.
If you don't like, if you really like under 10.5 goals or under 10 goals in the whole series at minus 145, then you should love this bet because I like this one a lot more than that.
Exactly, as do I. 30 cents less of juice there. All right, looking at some player props here. I'm just going to start with most points. McDavid plus 130. Hammer that. Apparently it was plus 170 late last week. I regret not getting that. Looking at last year, McDavid had 11 points. For the Oilers, second most was Fogle and Bouchard at 5 each. I do expect Draisaitl to be better, but maybe not better than McDavid. And then for the Panthers, Evan Rodriguez led them with 7 points. So McDavid plus 130, even better odds than him to win the Conn Smythe.
True, but the Conn Smythe, I think, is a more definite thing. The most points involves a lot more variance, so I don't know, plus 130. I would stay away from that. I don't know who I would want to bet instead because, like I said, there's a lot of variance, a lot of volatility. I would want to look at the second line for the Panthers, given the fact that Tkachuk looks a lot healthier. So him there at 10-1 is all right. Bennett 22-1, although he's more of a goal scorer apparently this playoffs. Verhaeghe also a goal scorer, but I don't know. If I had to make a bet in this market, it would be Tkachuk there at 10-1, given the fact that he looks like himself for the first time since the Four Nations tournament.
Yeah, Nugent Hopkins, 17-1, maybe not a bad look. Only had 2 points last Stanley Cup final, but he's playing on that top line now. He's been pretty hot there. Evander Kane, 65-1. We haven't exactly seen what the Oilers are going to do for lines, but I think he'll be on the second line. Probably not worth it.
Yeah, he'll gobble up some of Hyman's minutes for sure.
Hopefully there. And you got our boy A2 down there, 250-1. You never know. You never know what happens there, especially if it's
we've given up the A2 hope. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
The Vegas made a call and they got him suspended.
Yeah, they're like, no, we got too much liability here. Let's get him out of here. Yeah. But the most goals is more interesting to me. You got Draisaitl plus 275, McDavid 5-1, Reinhart 7, Tkachuk 8, Barkov plus 950. I pointed this out in the Discord, I believe. Last year, Evan Rodriguez had the most goals with 4. And then it was McDavid and McLeod with 3. So this is where I would be more willing to take a long shot here.
Yeah, it's tough to bet against Draisaitl now that he's going to be on that second line. McDavid will get the Barkov minutes most of the time. Gustav Forsling will be going against him as well, just doubling up on McJesus. And Draisaitl will have the way of the day for on that second line. because he's healthy now. Like in the last playoff finals, they had to pair him up with McDavid because he was so hurt and he was getting beat the fuck up on his own. But now that he's healthy and just firing away, plus 275 makes a lot of sense. But looking down the board, I don't like a lot here. Victor Harrison coming out of the blue. He's a goal scorer. Like he's a 30 plus goal scorer. Like not this year, but years past with the Kings and was it the Preds? Did he play for before?
Yeah. I mean, especially when Jeff Skinner is 28-1, and
yeah, I don't understand him. He's played one game before the Hyman injury.
He could be healthy scratched again. Like
exactly. And yeah, so Arvidsson makes a lot more sense to me if you want to take a real long shot.
Erod there again, 40-1. See if he can do it again. We did have Adam in the chat mentioning potentially Erod 5+ points. He's been doing a lot of assists recently. Hasn't been scoring as much as he did last year.
That was a fluky thing. Like I don't know his career stats, whatever, but I do not expect him to get 4 goals in this series.
Don't hate Kapanen at 120, especially. It looks like he's going to be sticking on that second line. He had a few empty netters. He's out there at 5-on-6. You know, if you get some passes from Draisaitl, 120-1, score 3 goals, even if it's a dead heat. Like that could be a good look there.
No, I've seen him every time he shoots, just right at the crest of the goalie. Like
it's just a bullseye every time. He just has to change his target.
Yeah. I don't really love anything here. It's a tough one. Bennett there, 11-1 is not terrible considering his he's almost top in the league now. Or
he is top in the league with 10. And I was surprised leading the Oilers, tied with Draisaitl. 7 is Corey Perry at 7, but he's at 20-1. So I guess that's long for some people, but not long enough for me.
So the Barkov line will be canceling out the McDavid line. Maybe the Kachuk line will get a lot more scoring, which is why kind of like those guys to get the points and goals.
Yeah, Bennett 11-1, probably a decent look there. But if Bennett leads the team and leads the series in goals, I guess it's not too correlated with Conn Smythe, but I think it's correlated enough where you might sprinkle both.
Well, we can get into that if you want to talk Conn Smythe or
let's get through a few more of these dumb props, and then we can do the ads and then Conn Smythe.
All
right. Series most shots on goal. I was looking at this before. This does have a long shot that I like. Last series, McDavid and Evan Bouchard both had 20 shots. Tarasenko had 19. Verhaeghe had 18. So Bouchard down there at 17-1. Get some Bouch bombs on that.
I like that. Yeah, 17-1. You know, Panthers take a ton of penalties, and you know Bouchard and McDavid and Draisaitl stay out for almost the entire power play, so they should get a lot of activity there. He does love to shoot the puck, even though sometimes it results in turnovers, but that's what you have to do to be a productive scorer in the Oilers offense. So I don't hate that. I got no thoughts in this. This is not something I usually pay attention to.
So far in the playoffs, McDavid leads the way with 59 shots in 16 games, and then Bennett has 51 in 17 games. So, I mean, it'll probably be McDavid, but might be worth doing a long shot Bouchard there. Got these X plus goals in series, X plus goals every game, X plus shots in every game. Don't really think any of these are worth taking. Series shots on goal, over under. If you guys are into betting on those, correlate them with
just all overs. If I think the series is going 6-7 games, then just take the overs. Like I'm not interested in unders.
Yeah. Look back at what they've done recently. Look back at last year. You got Bouchard 14.5, over 14.5, plus 100. I like that quite a bit actually. I'm gonna end up taking that at plus money. McDavid 18.5. He had 20 last year. Vander Kane. Some of these unders look kind of interesting, but too much juice, I think, to lay for a few weeks there. Just take the unders game by game if you want. You got some points over unders here. You got overtime, goal scorers, any player to score it. I feel like that's a sucker bet. Combined goals every game. So many different head-to-head stuff here as well. So plenty of stuff to get into if you are into that type of stuff. But all right, we are brought to you by the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. The Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their stay. You'll get a limo ride from the airport, a $5,000 tab for stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. And you can always get 15% off at all the Circa properties with promo code SGP15. Enter the Ultimate Fantasy Football Contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And Rhythm, you've heard us talk about them before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. The AI detects patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won as a high ROI, a prop that wins more than it is priced to. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know we'll be. Get your 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport. And for the true DGens, you get the MyBookie money bag. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit, and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. All right, Joel, you want to go game one or you want to go Conn Smythe?
We've talked about Conn Smythe enough, I guess. Let's go game one. Though, again, not a lot of tremendous insight here.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about what we like in this series, and it pretty much correlates to what we like in game one. You got the Panthers plus 110, Oilers minus 130. Total is at 6.5, over at plus 105, under at minus 125. You can get game to go to overtime at plus 310 there. You briefly mentioned it before. You like the over. I also like the over 6.5 at plus 105. I know Skinner and Bob have been two of the better goalies in the playoffs, especially recently, but both of these offenses are good. They're deep. And like we said, we do expect a few power plays early on.
I should add to Steve Alcat, shout out to him once again. Probably the best goalie expert that I listened to. He mentioned how the Oilers have given up like an historical few amount of breakaways so far, and Stuart Skinner thrives when he's only playing shots off the cycle and that kind of thing. Off the rush, he's terrible, and the Oilers have been very good at preventing chances off the rush, and the Panthers aren't good off the rush anyway, so that's another factor for the Oilers. Series price for the money line and whatnot, and also a kind of a cause for the under, I suppose. Although, given the fact that both teams had a week off, both teams are going to be amped up. It's going to be more like the round one, at least the first game, before they remember that they're all banged up as fuck for games 2, 3, 4. But for now, I do expect this to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest games of the entire series. So for that reason, I do like the over 6.5, with both goalies being a bit cold. So yeah, the over 6.5 is the way I would go. And yeah, the Panthers money line there, I guess I kind of like that a little bit, considering what I said about the Oilers playing this game at home. All the expectations, all the pressure, like people in Canada, they all expect the Oilers to win now. So there's a ton of narrative weight going on their shoulders. But yeah, if Panthers money line, I guess. But the only thing that I'm going to be betting, even just a little bit, is the over 6.5 there, or over 6, whatever.
Yeah, I think the Panthers would be the way to look. Let me check what the reverse cowgirl here is with the alternate spread. If they might not even, they don't even have it here on DraftKings to get the Panthers minus 1.5. That is something I would be interested in. If there it is, plus 255. Yeah, I'm gonna put a few bucks on that. Let me get one puck line 255. All right. Even in regulation now, plus 185, and overtime plus 310. Were any overtime games last year? There were maybe one. No overtime games. No overtime games last year. There was only one. There was 2 1-goal games, game 3 and then game 7 there. So, yeah, Panthers won last year, game 1, 3-0.
So you like minus 1.5? You like regulation and the draw?
I don't like the draw. I do not like the draw. No,
Okay.
I think the Panthers minus 1.5, 255. I think if they win, it's going to be by multiple goals. And if the Oilers win, it's going to be closer. I feel like it's going to be a high scoring game either way. Over, like you, is the favorite bet I like there. But I like the Panthers plus 110, and then possibly some regulation or puck line if the D-gens out there want some longer odds.
God bless the DJs.
Plenty of props available. You got shots on goal, points, assists, time on ice. That's crazy to see. Blocks. I saw some books had hits out there, so plenty of stuff to look for if you guys are into that. But
time on ice. Imagine sweating that. You're like, what are you doing? Like you're monitoring it with your own clock, or are you actually dependent on like ESPN stats after every commercial break? Like, how long did he play that shift?
the timekeepers aren't always right. Like, are you going to go back and like time it yourself? And
that's not worth the sweat.
No.
How do you know if you won your bet until like it finally settles?
Yeah, it's excluding overtime as well, so you can't even try to factor that in for the over. But yeah, let's get into what we're mostly interested in here, which is the Conn Smythe market here. Let me pull it up on non-DraftKings so we can get the different markets there. But McDavid is the favorite at plus 110. You got Bob plus 280, Barkov plus 600, Draisaitl 850, and then you got the long shots. We're still on Barkov, right? I guess we should mention the Conn Smythe watch that came out today.
Yeah, right. Bobrovsky did have more first place votes, but Barkov was more ballots. McDavid was the clear winner, of course, but everything is entirely up for debate. Plus, these guys that they're polling aren't the actual voters, so at least I'm sure there's a few of them among them, but these are mostly like national writers as well as beat writers for the Panthers and the Oilers. So it's a different voting block. We mentioned all the time how Barkov had like an overwhelming victory for the Panthers side last year, even though McDavid won the first place, the Conn Smythe Trophy itself. So for that reason, I think it's just Barkov. I don't understand like why Bobrovsky is favored. Yeah. Barkov is one more point than Bennett. Is he in second there? I know he's 1 point ahead of whoever's in second place among the Panthers for
Bennett. Kachuk also has 16, but Kachuk was down the ballots there for the Conn Smythe watch. Like he wasn't even making their cases. Making their cases exactly. Was Bennett and Draisaitl. And then on the cusp, he wasn't even on the cusp. It was a lack of buzz for Kachuk, which I guess Greg Wyshynski doesn't listen to the HGP because I feel like he should have asked the voters, okay, if the Oilers win, who are you voting for? If the Panthers win, who are you voting for? Because
there's that one quote. That's so stupid.
Yes.
If the Panthers win, I assume it's because Bobrovsky is amazing.
I don't know. I assume the goalie's going to win the game for them, so I'll give it to Bob.
That's like, gross.
No. Kachuk not getting any buzz whatsoever, especially after how good he was in the Eastern Conference Final, is surprising to me. I maybe they're thinking he's still hurt. Maybe they're weighing the first two rounds too much, but I expected more for him. Maybe it's the Canadian people that hate him.
Right. I mean, it's for me. We can beat a dead horse, but obviously we're a Barkov group here. McDavid, he's almost certainly going to win for the Oilers, and Bobrovsky, I don't understand why he's ahead of Barkov. I've been seeing this for feels like years now, and but if you want to look down the board, I still think Kachuk is the liveliest case. Like he could just go off. He has so much like momentum. He's like the Pat McAfee show. He's getting all this love there from the Four Nations tournament as well. So he does a little bit more momentum than he did last year from the American media. So if he just goes off this series, and he looks a lot healthier now than he did in the first couple rounds. So Kachuk at 35-1, I think is not bad either. So Barkov and Kachuk are the best bets for me in the Conn Smythe market at this point. But yeah, and if you like the Oilers, like you said earlier, just bet McDavid to win the Conn Smythe. I think that's better than the minus 120 even. I mean, Draisaitl can always go off like that. That's the danger. But he's only $850 is the best price in the market. That's I guess the fly in the ointment, but I still think it's going to be a forward, which is why that minus 360 I mentioned earlier. Just parlay that with the OKC Thunder or I don't know, Andreeva to beat the random French girl who showed up in the quarterfinals tomorrow. If you get this, and although that the match starts at like 4 a.m. Pacific, very unfortunate.
Yeah, I remember a few weeks ago I was looking at the position of Conn Smythe here on the podcast, and it was minus 210. I regret not unloading on that there. FanDuel does also offer player to win Conn Smythe, but not the Stanley Cup. They're at 20-1. That's the best I've seen. I don't think that happens, but I know out there have been people that have gotten the opposite of that at like minus 900, minus 1,500. So if you're looking to cover your ass a little bit, Books are offering that. Stu Skinner, 50-1 is unless he gets
Ridiculous.
4 shutouts, I can't imagine. Imagine the Oilers finally win. Connor McDavid finally wins the Stanley Cup. Leon Draisaitl finally wins the Stanley Cup, and it goes to Stu Skinner, the Conn Smythe Trophy. That would be incredible. But yeah, I mean Bennett 31, Kachuk 35-1, Verhaeghe 70-1. He's had a few game-winning goals. That's that line there, the line you mentioned as being the one going to get the easiest matchup. So those are
they're not going to vote for Connor Verhaeghe over Kachuk.
No, but it's
Kachuk's going to get the assists and all those goals that he scores anyway.
Yeah, it's Barkov at 6-1, 5-1 is the lowest he's at BetMGM there. I would still take that. He should be even with Bob, and yeah, I mean, unless Bob gets a shutout or two, it's I don't think he has it in him to win that. We did have one question at least about the first player to hoist the Stanley Cup after the captain. I know it's not available in the States. There's a market up, I believe, on FanDuel in Canada. Adam was asking Nugent Hopkins. He has at 3-1. Often happened
earlier.
Often handed to the longest tenure player on the team. In the Oilers case, that would be Ryan Nugent Hopkins. I wonder what Jeff Skinner is at for that, because I could see them giving it to the guy.
Jeff Skinner, get the fuck out of here.
I could see that, especially if he has a decent Stanley Cup final. He's played this long, finally made the playoffs.
Is he going to promise everyone a blowjob after? I don't understand why.
Maybe Corey Perry. He said he's not retiring yet, but it would be good to him to hoist it ahead in front of his kids there. I don't know if you can have found the market yet for any potential long shots.
No, I haven't found the market. I got too many books, I guess.
I'm pretty sure it might just be FanDuel that offers it. I know Josh Inglis has talked about it before. Apparently, he had Sam Reinhart at 100-1, and now it's down to 19-1 for the Panthers there.
I don't think he's getting it anymore.
No.
It's Bobrovsky or Kachuk for the Panthers. It'll be Nugent Hopkins or Draisaitl for the Oilers. Hard to see anyone else winning the cup handoff.
Here's the odds via Josh Inglis as of May 29th. So you got Nugent Hopkins 360, Draisaitl 380, Nate Schmidt plus 380. Did he not win the cup already with
No, he was in the final at the Knights, but he wasn't actually.
So maybe he gets it. Seth Jones plus 650, but yeah, it's the big boys.
Wow, Kachuk is way down there. Maybe I'm way off. I would rather bet.
Kachuk's not even on the board there this is still when the Stars were alive, but yeah, I think Nugent Hopkins or Draisaitl would be the way to go, because that's
maybe there must be something going on. Like somebody said something about handing it to Nate Schmidt at some point in the past. That's the only reason I could think of why he would be so high up there.
I don't know. Yeah, this probably is not something we're going to keep handicapping, but just wanted to bring it up because I saw it in the chat there. All right. Anything else here before we get into the puck buck bets?
No, I'm good. I could talk about stuff, but we can do the hockey first.
Yeah, do hockey. Then we'll talk about your tennis, what you got going with Sinner and whatnot.
Yeah.
I got the Panthers in 6 at plus 450 for 10 puck bucks there. May end up putting that. I'll do 10 puck bucks for that. Game 1 over 6.5 plus 105 for 25 puck bucks. Florida game 1 and plus 110 for 20. And then Florida game 1 on the puck line plus 225 for 5.
Well, I guess I got to do the Florida wins game 1, Oilers win series at 5-1. Give me 10 puck bucks on that one. Give me Barkov, Conn Smythe. Still the best bet in the board.
Yeah.
Just 10 puck bucks. I got enough on that. Although not really.
I'm also going to add some Barkov, Conn Smythe. I was looking at what other prices are there, but he's the best bet. Yeah.
Give me your game 1 over 6.5, but just for 15.
All right.
I'm not loving too much. I think that's good for now.
Got plenty of time to go game by game still. We should be recording between games, either after games or whenever. I know game 2 is Friday, so we'll either record after game 1 or Thursday. Not sure which would be better for you.
Well, I'll be at the bar, so I'll be pretty late on Friday night. Oh, we need Wednesday.
Either Wednesday or Thursday before game 2.
Well, I could do Wednesday too. It just depends on your schedule.
Yeah, I'm good to do it. I'm good to do one after the game.
All right. Wednesday night.
All right, there's the puck bucks there. I also added the Barkov Conn Smythe 550 for 20 puck bucks. Yeah, the best bet on the board right now. If you're listening, you want one bet to ride, it's Barkov plus 550 for the Conn Smythe.
Agreed.
All right, get into your how's our boy Sinner doing here in the French Open?
Final
this weekend, right?
That's correct. Yes, hopefully at a more reasonable time than the 3:30 a.m. service time we got for Mira Andreeva, my girl. But she's minus 1,200, so I probably won't have to watch. I'll just have to sweat her winning the quarter there and have her to win the whole thing and to reach the final. So we are all in on the Russian Mira Andreeva. Got a fortunate bounce there with Louise Poussin beating Jessica Pegula's pretty big upset there, but now she's riding the French wave. They're all singing Les Marseillaises and whatnot. We finally have Arina Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek in a major. That should be epic. Sabalenka is the slight favorite there. For the men, of course, Sinner has looked absolutely incredible, despite being off for a few months, just some bullshit suspension. But he's just jumped right back in, and it's probably on course for an Alcaraz final, although he does have to get by Zverev or Djokovic tomorrow. Djokovic hasn't taken any damage at all. Like he's won in straight sets all along. But this one should be a war, and Sinner will be the more rested player. Plus, Djokovic has been dealing with some blister issues for the first time in a while. So that should be interesting to monitor. But yeah, Jannik Sinner looks destined for the final, where he'll have to play almost certainly Carlos Alcaraz. Although, my guy, Lorenzo Mazzetti, he wins Q3 as a nice plus 240. Well, I guess that is the favorite in that quarter, but that was a nice cash there. And he's been awesome in the clay court, so he'll have to play Alcaraz in the semis. Hopefully they go to war and end up in 5 sets. So Sinner has an easy chance to win the whole damn thing on Sunday. So let's go, Dreva. Let's go, fucking Sinner. Time to sin, baby.
Yeah, I've been getting some boosts here. I got a parlay boost of something Thunder with Sinner to win the French Open, with Matthew Tkachuk to win the Conn Smythe on FanDuel, like $10 to win 1,000 something. So hopefully that comes through for me. But plenty of tennis stuff. I guess we'll see what happens before our next show. All right, anything else here before we close it out?
No, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted at all.
All right, make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube to see when we are going live. Put it out on the Twitter as well at Hockey SGPN, and get in the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. I am Ryan Gilbert. You can follow me on Twitter at rgilbertsop.
And I'm Joel Martin. You'll find me giving out a film recommendation. I watched the Green Street Hooligans last night. I expected it to be entirely negative against like hooliganism and whatnot, and in a sense it kind of was, but not to the extent that I expected, and for that reason it was pretty good. It was actually a pretty stirring recommendation of like the culture behind like football teams, football cultures, the firms as they call it in Europe. And yeah, so I bet that's a good film. Elijah Wood, Frodo Baggins from Lord of the Rings is the main actor. It's kind of corny, to be fair, but I enjoyed the spirit behind it. You know how much I like my European football culture.
I thought it might be a documentary until you mentioned Frodo Baggins there being in it.
No, just a film.
All right.